As you start off this school year, I want you to keep in mind what is really important as we're trying to teach mathematics to our students. I'm Christina Tondevold, the Recovering Traditionalist, and I hope that you will stick around as we take a look at two things to focus on this year for elementary math teachers as we work to build our math minds so that we can build the math minds of our students. Now, the first thing I want you to take away from this video is that the math really isn't important. You guys, we are in an era where it is being pushed on us that we have to get this content done. Kids have to have this and they have to have this. And I know that for some of you, it is very real and it is very tied to your performance, to your pay, to a lot of things, to your self-worth a lot of times from your school district. And I want to start off this video saying it's not important. And I want teachers to start realizing that. And I know we know it in our heart of hearts, but we've got to be standing up and saying what's really, really important is not about the mathematics. It is about ensuring that our kids become thinkers and lovers of whatever content we're teaching, but especially mathematics. We have such a huge divide between people who like math. Some may even say they love it. And then you get people who hate it. You don't get a whole lot of people that are like, it's okay. It's either they like it and they love it or they hate it. And we want kids to really love mathematics. We want them to love learning. And that's the piece that I want you to instill in your students this year through mathematics is that learning can be fun. Mathematics can be fun. And all too often kids get the message that mathematics is about doing worksheets. It's about completing 50 problems. And the other day, it was just last night actually, we were sitting at the dining room table with our 5th grade son, and he was trying to finish the work that he didn't get done at school. So they didn't actually assign homework, he just didn't get done in class time. And it was multi-digit multiplication. And my son is very slow, he is very messy with his work and his thinking, but albeit, gosh darn it, that kid has a special way of looking at the problem. Like he was going through it and solving the problem. My husband's sitting there like, what in the world is he doing? It was totally backwards from the way that we learned it, but it was his thinking and he could get it done. He would get to the answer. I didn't check all of his work. I didn't check to see if he's right because I wanted to encourage his thinking. Now, yes, ideally, I want him to get the right answer and he'll get there. He'll become more fluid and more fluent with his multiplication as he works forward. But if me as a parent and if the teacher had also been like, why didn't you get this done in the time? You've got to do it this way. You've got to do it faster. He would have shut down and he wouldn't like doing math. So I appreciate that mathematics is more than just getting to an answer quickly. My value system around mathematics is that I don't care if you're messy. I don't care if it takes you time. You'll eventually get better at those things. What I want to help instill is creativity, thinking processes, that perseverance, those pieces. It's harder to directly teach those things. You have to build that into the environment, and then we can focus in on, okay, let's make this a little bit tidier, a little neater. Can we perfect your way that you're thinking about it to make it so it doesn't take you 15 minutes to solve one problem? I'm serious, guys. It's a little hard to watch sometimes, but he has a cool way of doing it. And I don't want to stifle that because his thinking process is awesome. So I really want to encourage you. The very first thing to be focusing on throughout the year is what do you value when it comes to learning in general? If you value creativity and thinking and perseverance and a growth mindset, then you better be instilling that in your mathematics time as well. We can't be saying we encourage a growth mindset and then give them a worksheet of 50 problems and say that it needs to get done in the next 20 minutes, right? We've got to look to see how our textbook is helping to promote those values that we hold dear. And I want to give you permission to stop before you get too deep into the school year and decide, what are my values when it comes to teaching mathematics? Because you're going to get lots of pressure of all the things that you have to get done throughout the year. And I want you to be able to think back, okay, this is my focus. This is my focus. So whether your focus is on building creativity, if you really want to focus on growth mindset, if you want to encourage perseverance, whatever your big goal is, think about it beyond the math content. Yes, we've got to teach them fractions, we've got to teach them addition, multiplication, all of that content. But the number one thing that we should be focusing on is the values that come through the mathematics we're teaching. And that's going to help you drive the way that you teach the content. Because number two is, yes, the math concepts that you teach are important. I want to help reiterate that because I know you're getting pressure of all of the things that you have to teach throughout the year. But again, it's about focus, you guys. There is so much that you could do. If you are tied to a textbook, you know the pressure of trying to get through that textbook throughout the year, right? There is no way you can get it all done in the time you have with those kiddos this year. Even if you're trying to just go with the standards, you're looking at the standards, but you know you've got kids who are down here and some kids who are up here. And so trying to teach those standards in a way that helps all of your kids get there takes a lot more time than what they think it really does. So no matter how you're trained to teach, there's always going to be that feeling of, I don't have time to get this done. I didn't get to this content. I didn't do this with the students. So before your year starts, or even if it has started, you've got to make that focus of what are the big pieces that my kids need to have by the end of this year, and be okay with it if that's all that you get to, you guys. And ideally, that won't be all you get to, but I want to tell you, give yourself some grace. You can't do it all. You cannot teach all of those math content standards in a way that reaches all of your kiddos. If they were all at the same level, everybody came into third grade at third grade level, starting the third grade, all awesome, then maybe it's doable. But reality is you've got kids everywhere, and you've got to be able to say, okay, what are the big things that these kids need? So I'm going to bring up a little example right here that shows 2 third grade standards. Okay, because not all standards are created equal, thus you should not spend the same amount of time on them, and your textbook shouldn't either. So this first one talks about using multiplication and division to solve word problems in different situations, seeing them as groups, arrays, measurement quantities, all of this fun stuff, okay? Well, it's a huge, big thing in third grade, guys. Multiplication and division and fractions are like the heart of third grade. Yeah, that's one standard, but then here's also one standard in third grade about measuring and estimating liquid volumes and masses of objects. Now, let's be honest. One of those standards is way more important than the other. Okay? Yes, I want my kids to have both of those understandings, but if I've got to choose, y'all, I am choosing the first one. That is way more important, that kids can solve real world problems around multiplication and division. That is more important, okay? I understand estimating and measuring stuff, and here's the thing, I don't want you to not teach them, right? If you guys got to attend my virtual math summit session that I talked about, one of the things that I mentioned was trying to infuse the pieces that we don't always get to into mini lessons throughout the year. So what often happens if you're teaching with a textbook is you're going through the textbook and then you realize, we're not going to get to everything that's in this textbook. So like the last 2 chapters are things you never cover. Well, guess what? They always leave geometry, measurement stuff to the end of the textbook. And if every teacher is never getting to the end, our students are never getting measurement and geometry stuff. So yes, it's important. I don't want to say just don't do it, but you don't need a full unit on it. Being able to measure and estimate liquids, you could do that in 5 minutes every day throughout the school year, right? It doesn't even have to be every day. It wouldn't take every day, but take one day a week and bring something in where kids have to estimate. So what I'm asking you to think about is that old story, I guess, with the big rocks and then filling the sand. If you try to fill in with the sand first and then put the big rocks in, I'm not doing justice to the story whatsoever, but hopefully you guys know what story I'm talking about. But you can't fit the big rocks. But if you put the big rocks in first, so in your mind be thinking about what are the big things I need to focus on this year, and then you sprinkle in, you layer in the sand, you dump the sand in later, and it will fill in the spots that you have. So think about what are the minor things that we need to teach this year. Not that they're not important, but they're not as important as the others. So I'm calling them minor things. So have those big ones in mind, and then find ways to sprinkle in the minor stuff to fill in the holes. Okay. All right. Now, if you need a refresher on those big ideas, I did a video all about the content emphases. And so I'll link to that video below this video so that you can check that out to give you a refresher on that if you don't have that information. All right, I hope that this video has gotten you some ideas for this school year and has helped to build your math mind so that you can help build the math minds of the kiddos in your classroom. Have a great day.